He took advantage of her, then he left. Talia became pregnant.
What? Sleeping B was sleeping, obviously she's in a coma, and she took advantage of, and someone impregnated her while she was sleeping. What the her dad! It was her dad! Wait, it was her dad? Wait, what? No, wait, no. Innocent cartoons with disturbing origins. Let's get it, let's go. Boom. Let's go.
Some of our favorite childhood cartoons have backstories that are totally inappropriate for kids. And in this video, we're gonna uncover them. These are cartoon characters with disturbing backstories. We'll start with letter cases and work our way to the most shocking. Peter Pan. The world calls Peter Pan a hero, but is he really? In the original story, he ends innocent people. Most people think he's a good guy because of the way Disney portrays him. The cartoon was a hit, making $87 million on a $4 million budget. But Disney's cheerful movie doesn't match the original character. The real story was written by J.M. Barrie in 1904. That's over 100 years ago. Barrie was obsessed with the concept of eternal boyhood, so he wrote Peter Pan, the story of a boy who stayed young forever. But it wasn't a
what the fuck is this, bro?
Celebration of childhood. The story was about fear, about what happens when someone is so terrified of growing up that they will do anything to stop it. The story began with Peter flying through the streets of London. He was searching for kids to take to Neverland.
Well, come on, Wendy. Let's go.
Wait! Peter Pan is stealing kids and taking them to Netherlands. What? Yo, wait. Yo, wait.
Neverland. Peter's taking us.
Oh, Neverland, I mean, not Netherlands.
No rules, no parents, no responsibilities. The children arrived.
I remember
Neverland,
this. I forgot.
They found freedom, but Peter had a secret reason for bringing them. He was building an army. Peter Pan had enemies, the pirates.
It's actually a perpetual war going on between pirates and these lost boys.
He needed soldiers for this war.
So Peter is luring these children to come fight as child soldiers in his army.
The kids came for fun, but they ended up battling pirates. The pirates appeared in Disney's version too, but there was one huge difference. In Disney's story, Peter fought the pirates without trying to hurt them. But in the original, Peter slaughtered pirates without hesitation. And he expected the kids to do the same. But that wasn't the only horror in Neverland. Peter didn't want adults there. Neverland was meant to be a land of eternal youth.
Peter Pan!
Stopped themselves from growing. And when they did, Peter dealt with them. Here's a quote from Barrie's original work. When they seem to be growing up, which is against the rules, Peter thins them out. Thins them out was a polite way of saying something extreme. Peter ended anyone who grew up.
And that's the trick of Neverland, is the reason you don't age in Neverland is either because the pirates kill you or Peter does.
Yo, what? Peter Pan? This guy is a psycho. He's a pred. He's a pred. I used to snort pixie dust. Yo, what? Okay, yo, chill. Peter Pan is moving like a freaking pred. Cha, I feel like he has reasons. No. Cha, if you really like clock it, Peter Pan's actually a pred. He lures kids and takes them to Neverland to fight pirates. Little itty bitty kids. What?
And he was protecting the magic of childhood by any means necessary. When the old batch of kids was finished, Peter didn't mourn. He simply flew back to London to find replacements, and the cycle started again. Disney knew this part of the story, but they hid it. They turned a villain into a hero and made Peter Pan a beloved childhood character. The creator of this next cartoon later regretted. Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh was massive. The franchise has made more than $80 billion. That money came from books, toys, t-shirts, and even potty chairs. But behind the soft and cuddly bear is a dark story. A story that ruined a young man's life and ripped his family apart. The story begins with a writer named Alan.
Yo, what? Yo, what's going on my stuff? Yo, Peter Pan!
Books about Pooh saw the light.
Alan had a son named Christopher.
Say sorry to Pia. Yo, Pia, I'm sorry!
Adored his little boy. On Christopher's first birthday,
okay, chat, we need a
Alan bought
now.
a teddy bear. At first, Christopher called the bear Edward. Then he visited the London Zoo and saw a Canadian black bear named Winnie. After that, little Christopher decided to rename his bear Winnie. The Pooh part came from a swan he liked. That teddy bear became Christopher's best friend. He carried it everywhere. Soon, Christopher collected more stuffed animals. There was a donkey, a piglet, a tiger, and more. Alan watched his son play with those toys and got inspired. He began writing stories about a boy named Christopher Robin and his stuffed animals. In 1926, the first book was published. It was titled Winnie the Pooh.
And then the books featuring all those characters. There was Winnie the Pooh and Piglet and Eeyore and Tigger.
The book was an instant hit. Kids wanted more. So in 1928, Alan released a second book, The House at Pooh Corner. Alan thought his son would be proud to see himself in the stories, but the reality was very different. Winnie the Pooh became a curse for Christopher. Christopher was 8 when the second book came out. The stories made him famous, but not in a good way. Kids at school mocked him.
Peter
They
Pan,
sang
leave my
poems from the
freaking
book.
shit alone, Peter Pan.
They teased him for playing.
Yo,
with
Peter
stuffed
Pan,
animals
stop
like
touching my
baby.
PC.
Christopher was miserable. Soon he hated his own name. It
Yo,
was so
Peter Pan,
easy
see
to
some
connect
shit.
him to Christopher Robin from the books. By the time he turned 18, he blamed his dad for his horrible childhood. Christopher felt used, like his father stole his childhood for profit.
Felt that his father got to where he was by climbing on top of his infant shoulders, by exploiting his childhood.
Christopher joined the military. He thought serving his country would make people see him differently. But even in the army, soldiers mocked
Bro, what does this have to do with Winnie the Pooh, bro?
him because of Winnie the Pooh. After the war, Christopher tried to live a quiet life. He gave up all rights to the money from Winnie the Pooh. He married, moved to the countryside, and opened up a small bookshop. But even there,
that kind of
people
story?
connected him to Winnie. Soon, people weren't visiting his bookshop to buy books. They wanted to meet the real Christopher Robin. The worst part was his relationship with his parents. They barely spoke. In 1956, his father Alan passed away. Christopher did not attend the funeral. But even before Alan passed, he admitted his regret. He wished he never created Winnie the Pooh, but it was too late. The damage was already done. Christopher spent the rest of his life as a bookseller. He was remembered by locals as a kind man. Christopher Robin couldn't escape his stolen identity. People wouldn't stop connecting him to a character he wanted nothing to do with. And in a way, I know that feeling, of course, to a lesser extent. A few years ago, someone found my private data online and used it to threaten me. I tried removing my
what?
information from every shady website I could find, but there were just too many.
What is this
identity
shit?
theft.
I'm watching the freaking sponsor. I ain't real. What the hell happened to Winnie the Pooh? Why is he getting sponsorship? Like, what the fuck?
Fighting crime, and their
Now I'm
dad
going to
was a
Teenage Mutant
giant
Ninja
rat.
Turtle,
It
bro.
sounded ridiculous.
Oh, what
but
the
it
frick's
became one
going
of the
on?
most popular animated
I'm
series in
tweaking.
television history.
Don't be fake
and I used to watch it
react
all the time.
exposure.
It was
That's not
great.
a fake
But the
reaction to
turtles
what
didn't
was going on.
start as goofy cartoon characters. Their original form was so violent and disturbing that no parent would have let their child watch. To see how far they've come, you have to go back to 1984, the year the turtles were born. It started as a joke. In 1983, two artists were brainstorming. Then one sketched something ridiculous.
Eastman whips up a sketch to try and make Laird laugh. It's a turtle with nunchucks strapped to his arms. Laird grabs a piece of paper and does his own rendition.
The joke didn't stay a joke. They turned it into a comic book called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Although the sketches were funny, the
Teenage
comic
Mutant
itself
Ninja
was
Turtles!
brutal. From the first issue, the violence was uncomfortable.
In Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, the Turtles were basically hitmen determined to get Shredder.
For context, Shredder was their main enemy. In the comic, the Turtles cornered him on a rooftop. Then they proceeded to hurt him really bad. What came next made it even darker. After pummeling Shredder, the Turtles gave him a sword. They told him to finish the job himself, if you get what I mean. Shredder refused, so they threw him off the roof. The gore didn't end there. In another issue, they hurled a blade into a man. Another time, they drowned someone in a fountain. They also used swear words all the time. One reader said they weren't so much heroes as they were a bunch of mutant ninja assassins. How could someone pick up a book and go, hey, this would make a great lighthearted Saturday
Teenage
morning
Mutant Ninja
cartoon?
Turtles?
Beyond me. And it wasn't just the turtles. Nearly every major character in the comic was unnecessarily aggressive. There was a robot that chewed rats alive. The artists showed every detail, bones cracking and all. Then there was Casey Jones, one of the turtles' allies. He took down his enemies with a hockey stick. Every page leaned into violence. Nothing was hidden. So how did anyone think these turtles belonged in a kids cartoon? In 1987, a company wanted to sell Ninja Turtle action figures, but there was a problem. The comics were way too graphic. To make the toys marketable, the turtles had to be cleaned up. So an animation studio stepped in. They made a cartoon that turned the assassins into kid-friendly heroes.
Ninja pizza? Well, what do you know? Rock, dudes. Do you realize what this is?
The tone shifted from dark crime to playful action.
Let's show them the turtles know how to party.
Even today, fans who read the original comics are shocked by how violent and weird the series was. Up next is a story that's the exact opposite of it.
There's nothing, bro. There's actually nothing wrong with that. Obviously, some things might have been more graphic back in the days, but you know what I'm saying. Now it's like a lighthearted show, and I think there's nothing wrong with them. You know what I'm saying? They're just killing. Well, it's bad. I guess it's graphic, but you know what I'm saying. They're just doing what they need to do and eliminating their foe, which is Shredder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It don't seem like it's anything crazy.
Disney's Little Mermaid can be summarized in one line. True
The Little
love
Mermaid
always wins. The main character, Ariel, got everything she wanted. She became human, married the prince, and enjoyed her life. But the original tale from 1836 was the opposite. The Little Mermaid was miserable throughout the story, and in the end, she passed away sad and alone. The original begins just like Disney's. A young mermaid saves a prince from drowning. She falls in love with him, and she wants to leave the sea to live on land with the prince. But the problem is obvious. As a mermaid, she doesn't have legs, which means she can't move on land. Her only option is to go to the sea witch for help. The witch makes her an offer.
At her, saying that she will give her a potion which needs to be drunk at the shore before sunrise. It will give her legs, but it will come with excruciating pain.
The mermaid will become human, but she will lose her voice. She will never sing or speak again, and every step she takes will feel like walking on glass. That's not even the worst part of the deal.
Prince doesn't marry you, you will not get your soul. And the morning after he marries another, you will die.
Why the hell would they take the potion then? So the potion basically turns you into a human, but it's like walking on glass, and then you don't get married. You don't get married to the prince. Yo, what?
It becomes sea foam.
In other words, if the prince marries someone else,
and then we're shouting at
mermaid
BT
will
like,
pass away
what?
The very next day, blinded by love, the mermaid accepts. She drinks the potion. When she wakes up on shore, she has legs, but the pain is real. Every step feels like walking on broken glass. Still, she endures it. She has one goal: win the prince's love before it's too late. The mermaid eventually finds the prince. They become friends, but because she has no voice, she cannot speak to him. She can't tell him she was the one who saved his life. The prince believes another princess rescued him. That misunderstanding ruins everything. Soon, the prince announces his engagement to that other princess. For the Little Mermaid, that is her death sentence. The wedding eventually takes place. As the mermaid watches the ceremony, she remembers the witch's warning that she will die if he marries someone else. That night, her sisters rise from the sea with a desperate plan to save her.
We're here to save you,
cried the eldest sister.
They hand her a dagger. If she ends the prince before dawn, the curse will break. She can return as a mermaid.
Yo, that is crazy. Yo, the original story is actually crazy. What the hell is that freaking nut stuff, bro?
In order for her to live, she must end the life of the man she loves.
It was either her life or his.
This is demonic, bro. This is demonic.
To his heart.
Oh, hell no.
Then stopped.
But she can't do it. She throws the dagger into the sea and accepts her fate. As the sun rises the next morning, her body begins to fade away.
She thought she could feel her body dissolving into thousands of bubbles of sea foam. Soon, the Little Mermaid would be no more.
This was no fairy tale. It was a story of sacrifice, pain, and sadness. If you grew up in the 2010s, you probably know this next cartoon.
Bro, that was a cartoon, right? What kid is watching that? What the hell is going on, bro? That is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my freaking life. What kid is watching that? Why is that cartoon about? Because I don't know if there's any grown adults watching that. That's depressing. That's very sad, bro. That's very sad. He's making these cartoons. These cartoons are sus as fuck, bro.
Massive hit. It ranked second.
These cartoons are crazy.
Best Cartoon Network shows.
And now it's freaking Adventure Time. Adventure Time, Ice King. What did the Ice King do in Adventure Time? Oh hell no.
The greatest animated
what did he do, bro?
series. The
I
show
love
is
Adventure Time.
About a 12-year-old boy and his magical dog. Together, they roam the land of Ooh, righting wrongs and battling evil. But this chapter isn't about the heroes, it's about the villain, the Ice King. He was an old man with a white beard living in a frozen castle. To understand the Ice King, there are two things you need to know. First, he desperately wanted a wife. Second, he kidnapped princesses across the land of Ooh, hoping one of them would marry him. On the surface, he was diabolical and strange. But the Ice King wasn't always a villain.
Don't tell me he went to the island. Yo, bro, what are you talking about? Did the Ice King go to Epstein Island? The guy's not real, man. Come on, bro.
His backstory revealed he was.
Did he go to the parties?
His backstory was revealed in season 3, episode 19 and 20. Years earlier, he was known as Simon Petrikov. Simon loved studying ancient artifacts. He even had a fiancée named Betty. One day, Simon discovered an old crown.
After purchasing this crown from an old dock worker in northern Scandinavia, I brought it home and excitedly showed my fiancée Betty.
The crown wasn't just old, it was cursed. When Simon put the crown on his head, it took over. The crown gave him terrifying powers. He could summon blizzards and freeze anything, but the magic came with a cost. Every time he used the crown, it gradually drove him insane.
I jokingly put it on my head just for a laugh or something, and that's when it started. The visions. I fought with them, shouted at them until I realized it wasn't real, it was the crown.
He started hearing voices, forgetting things, and losing his personality.
This guy's turning to Ice King. This guy's turning to the Ice King.
But I'm already too far.
This guy's turning into the Ice King, bro. What?
Simon knew he was slipping from good to evil, and he couldn't stop it.
If I do things...
Oh, hell no. So he's schizo. Yeah, he's schizo.
Things that hurt.
I'm sorry.
Anyone,
I'm sorry.
please,
I'm sorry.
Please forgive me.
Betty watched as Simon's mind fell apart. She couldn't take it. In the end, she
queasy.
left him. Without Betty, Simon had nothing left to fight for. The crown consumed him. That's when he fully transformed into the Ice King. This means the Ice King was never really a bad guy. He was a man suffering from the curse of the crown.
Just watch over me until I can find my way out of this labyrinth in my brain and regain my sanity.
If that wasn't tragic enough, his fiancée abandoned him because of his condition. That's incredibly dark for a kid's show. The Ice King might just be one of the saddest characters ever written into a children's cartoon. Up next is a character who made the impossible.
Ice King, bro. The freaking Ice King from Adventure Time, who's just a normal person, and he puts on the crown and he turns into some psycho. This is deep.
Possible.
This is deep, y'all.
Here's something
Next
most
one,
people
Hercules.
don't know. Since 1950, there have been more than 50
Hercules
films.
shot.
He also appeared in
That's good,
tons
bro.
of video games, including God of War and Assassin's Creed. Hercules also appeared in books, comics, toys, and more.
I see
Simply
protection
put,
from Ice
Hercules might be the most popular hero in human history. And in 1997, Disney made their own version. Their animated Hercules was a global hit. It made nearly $253 million worldwide. For millions of kids, this was their first introduction to the character. But anyone who watched the cartoon got the wrong idea about Hercules. Disney's Hercules was funny, noble, and kind. The real Hercules was cursed by the gods, tormented by madness, and haunted by guilt. The original story comes from Greek myths dating back thousands of years. Hercules' problems began before he was even born. His father was Zeus, the king of the gods, but his mother was human. What started the whole mess was that Zeus was already married. His wife Hera was the queen of the gods. When she found out about the affair, she was furious. But Hera didn't blame her cheating.
Zeus, what are you doing, bro?
Her rage.
Look what we got here, bro. Zeus, this guy is having an affair, bro. Zeus, bro. What are you doing, man? This is L, bro. Now we shout out YKTV Zeus. Stop using the chat. Don't Zeus got many wives? I think he does, actually. I think he does, bro. I think he does. I think in Greek mythology, they have like some mad shit going on with like, you know, they have like 50 wives and affairs and all types of stuff, bro. Because Zeus is meant to be a god, bro. Like, what the hell is this shit?
She vowed to destroy him.
The Greek mythology is actually very confusing and weird.
A baby.
She sent 2 poisonous
Me and Hercules
serpents
sold
to kill the babies. The serpents slithered into the cradle where Hercules and his brother were sleeping.
The serpents were meant to strangle him as he slept. But even as baby Hercules had superhuman strength, he crushed the serpents with his bare hands. Hera's plan failed, but she wasn't done. She waited for the perfect moment to strike again. Hercules became the strongest man alive. He eventually married a woman named Megara. Together they had children and lived peacefully. But that happiness made him vulnerable. Hera knew Hercules could defeat any monster. So instead of sending beasts, she attacked his mind. Hera used her divine powers to make him temporarily insane. Suddenly, the strongest man in the world couldn't think clearly. In his madness, he saw monsters everywhere. He fought back with all his strength, but those weren't monsters. They were his wife and children, and he ended them. With the madness lifted, Hercules realized.
What, bro? Come on, gang. What is this, bro? That took a dark turn, bro. How does that just... Oh, bro. These cartoons are crazy, bro.
Realized what he had done.
That is scary.
He realized he had just committed the most
that is scary.
Crime.
Look at this.
The guilt was unbearable. People who once called him a hero now saw him as a villain, but Hercules was given a chance at redemption.
The oracle tells Hercules that in order to atone for his sins, he
Chat, we all scared. Chat, I'm scared too. I'm scared too, chat. Your favorite childhood show could have a deep, dark backstory that actually is demonic. Just like Hercules. What the
serve
fuck?
as the slave of King Eurystheus.
But Eurystheus was now
with the baddie.
Hera. Now that Hercules was broken, they wanted to finish him once and for all. So the king gave Hercules 12 impossible tasks. These would become known as the 12 labors of Hercules. Each labor was designed to destroy him. For his first task, Hercules had to defeat the Nemean lion. Its skin was so tough that no weapon could cut it. But Hercules found another way to win.
But Hercules cornered the lion in its dark cave, stunned it with a club, and strangled it with his bare hands.
Second task was worse. He had to slay the Hydra. It was a massive serpent with many heads. Cut off one and 2 more grew back. So how did Hercules defeat this creature? Each time he cut a head, he burned the wound shut so it wouldn't grow back. One by one, Hercules completed all 12. But no matter how much he accomplished, the guilt never left him. After the 12 labors, Hercules was worshipped as a hero, but he was still unhappy. Later, he tried to rebuild his life. He remarried, but tragedy found him again. His new wife was tricked into to giving him a poison cloak. When Hercules put it on, the fabric burned him. The pain was unbearable and he couldn't take it off. So Hercules did something extreme. He threw himself into the fire.
After being completely consumed by flames, Hercules' spirit ascended to heaven.
Oh my days, gang, bro. So after he kills his whole family, he restarts his life, and then... oh, yo, this ain't real, bro. Reacting to showers. I'm not reacting to showers, gang.
After this apotheosis, Hercules
what
arrived
the
at Olympus,
fudge?
where he was received by his father as a god.
Hercules experienced misery, loss, and guilt. Ironically, kids today grow up idolizing Hercules. They have no idea that the original Hercules lived a life that no one would want. This next backstory transformed a creep into
real, bro.
Prince Charming.
I'm so glad you're here to watch this with us, Ruzi. I got you guys, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, this video is scary, so I'm watching with you guys. Don't worry, guys. I want to keep you guys company.
Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping
Almost
Beauty.
Everyone knows.
Oh, I know why.
Sleeping
Mizu, shut your
Beauty.
ass
A princess
up, boy.
falls into an
What do you mean
enchanted
you know why?
sleep. A prince
I know the law.
kisses
What law
her,
do you
breaks
know?
the curse,
Mizos,
and
go my
happily
boy.
ever after. But Disney didn't
Sleeping
create that
Beauty,
story.
y'all.
They took it from
Let's
a
see.
1634 Italian book titled Sun, Moon, and Talia. It wasn't a fairy tale. It was a creepy story no child should ever hear. In the original, the princess wasn't named Aurora. She was called Talia. When Talia was born, her father received a prophecy about her future.
Someday, the princess will prick her finger on a spinning wheel and fall into a deep, death-like sleep. No!
And that prophecy came true. Talia grew up, pricked her finger, and fell into a never-ending sleep. Her father was devastated. Instead of searching for a cure, he abandoned the castle and left her behind.
Yo,
Years
what are
passed.
you saying?
One day, another king stumbled upon the empty
Son
castle.
in the chat, bro.
Inside, he found Talia. She was unconscious and helpless, and she was beautiful. Here's where the story takes a turn Disney could never
That's
touch.
not Andy,
The king
gang.
didn't try to wake
It's
her
not
with a
Andy.
kiss. He took advantage of her, then he left. Talia became pregnant. Months passed, and she gave
What?
birth to twins.
The fuck, bro? Oh my god. Did you just hear that? No, did you just hear that? So, Sleeping Beauty was sleeping. Obviously, she's in a coma. And she got took advantage of and someone impregnated her while she was sleeping. What the her dad. It was her dad. Wait, it was her dad? Wait, what? No, wait. No. Hold up. Her dad? Hold up.
Searching for a cure, he abandoned the castle and left her behind. Years passed. One day, another king stumbled upon the empty castle. Inside, he found Talia. She was
Oh, it's
unconscious
not her
and
dad. It's
helpless,
not her dad,
and she
bro.
was beautiful. Here's where
It's
the
not her
story
dad. It's not her dad.
Disney
It's not her
could
dad,
never
chat.
touch. The
It's
king
not her dad.
didn't
It's
try
not her
to
dad.
wake
Now
her
we
with a
good. Okay, no, wait. No, we're still not good though. We're still not good though. A random king stumbled across the castle that, you know, her dad left her in, right? And this king sees her looking beautiful sleeping, and then he just fuzz her, bro. What the fudge, bro? He just starts. I can't even say the word. That's disgusting. That's just disgusting. Disgusting, baby.
kiss. He took
frick
advantage
is-
of
that
her.
king is a weirdo.
Then he left. Talia became
No, that
pregnant.
king is
Months
definitely
passed, and she
a
gave birth
weirdo.
to twins while she was
weirdo.
still
Men.
asleep.
Men
For her,
sense it,
some
not for real.
fairies,
What the
like the ones
frick?
in the movie, help her out with the birthing process.
The reason she couldn't wake was that a splinter of flax was stuck in her finger. The babies crawled over her. One accidentally sucked on her finger.
One of the twins starts sucking on Talia's
What
finger
the
by mistake,
fudge?
and the splinter that was under her fingernail comes right out, and she wakes up.
When she opened her eyes, she was now the mother of 2 children she didn't recognize. Soon, the king who violated her returned. He found Talia awake and saw the twins, and he was thrilled. That was the same man who
That's
took
why she couldn't
advantage
wake
of her
up.
while she was unconscious.
Our brains are
And now
shrinking.
they were acting like one big
She's
happy
sleeping. She's in a
family.
coma.
He visited
Sleeping
often.
Beauty.
He provided for Talia and the twins.
Oh,
they were
hell
happy, but they couldn't go public with their relationship because the king was already married and his queen was no fool. When she discovered the affair, she planned her revenge. She ordered her henchmen to kidnap the twins, cook them, and serve them to the king for dinner. She wanted her husband.
Yo, what the fudge? It gets worse. They are gonna feed Sleeping Beauty's kids to the king for dinner. What the frick is wrong with these people? The queen might be in the files. No, the queen is in the files. The queen is in the files. Yo, yeah, the queen's in the
unknowingly
files.
Eat his own.
The
The
queen's in the
henchmen
files.
couldn't do it. Instead, they
Clocked
hid
it,
the
chat.
twins and served the king.
The files existed way before we were born, chat.
The meat
Way
was
before.
the twins.
That night, the whole time the
Oh
king is
my.
eating his dinner, the queen keeps saying weird, creepy stuff to him.
Eventually, her scheme was exposed. The queen was executed, and the king married Talia. Somehow, this was considered a happy ending in 1634. Disney completely overhauled the story, and that's how we got the version of Sleeping Beauty we know today. But ironically, the film didn't land the way Disney hoped. It was a box office bomb. The studio lost around $900,000, which is about $9.7 million today. The failure was so devastating that Disney didn't release another princess movie for many years. Up next is the story of
Bro, Sleeping Beauty must be the most bro, chat, I thought Sleeping Beauty was a nice little romance. Like, it was meant to be a nice romance Sleeping Beauty cartoon for the children to watch, and now we're hearing this shit. Like, what? Where the hell are you getting that from, bro? Drex's comedy is crazy.
Snow White.
Snow White, no, not Snow White. Not Snow White and the freaking 10 dwarfs or whatever, how much dwarfs it is. Not Snow White, guys.
The first full-length animated film.
What does Snow White do?
It took over 750 artists more than 3 years to complete, but the hard work paid off. The movie was a huge success. However, it might not have been a hit if Disney followed the original story. The real story of Snow White was violent and grotesque. Disney's version was adapted from the Brothers Grimm. In that story, the queen...
Meezy, you're one of the dwarfs.
Queen wasn't just jealous of Snow White, she wanted to eat her. She ordered a huntsman.
I saw you in between. No, you're the dwarf. You're the dwarf.
But she also gave him one more instruction. She asked him to bring back Snow White's lungs and liver. The huntsman couldn't do it. He let her go. Then he took the organs of an animal to the queen, and the queen actually salted and ate them.
Not only did she think...
Bro, I'm so done with this, bro. I'm so done with this, bro. I'm so freaking done with this. So, the queen tried to get some guy to freaking kill Snow White and get her lungs and her shit, like her intestines and insides, and then she thought that was it and she ate it, bro. Like, what, bro? My freaking thing fell off, bro. It's always eating shit.
Snow White was dead.
Why are they always eating humans?
Her lungs and liver.
They're always eating humans,
Snow White
bro.
Found the dwarves in the woods. The queen discovered she was still alive, and she tried to end Snow White over and over again, but each time she failed. Finally, the queen tricked Snow White into eating a poisoned apple, and she passed away. Here's where the prince enters the story, but he wasn't the charming hero Disney showed. The dwarfs placed Snow White in a glass coffin. The prince saw the funeral and fell in love with her lifeless body. He begged the dwarves to let him take her to his castle. The dwarves agreed.
No. Are we about to see necrophilia? Is he about to freaking fuck the dead body of Snow White? Oh, hell no.
The coffin was being moved, the servants stumbled. The glass case shifted. A piece of the poison apple dislodged from her throat.
Oh, hell no.
Coughed and came back to life. Snow White didn't return to life because of magic kiss. It was an accident. Snow White married the prince. The queen was invited to the wedding. She didn't realize she was walking into a trap. Snow White wanted revenge. Inside the wedding hall, the guards grabbed the queen. Iron shoes were heated in fire. Then they forced the evil queen to wear the hot shoes. The queen was forced to dance in torment until she passed away. That was the true ending of Snow White. Disney knew this version could never work as a children's film, so they changed it, but the Grimm version still exists, available for anyone to read. This next case involves a girl who did the unthinkable.
Oh, Snow White, man. At least the prince didn't actually like fuck the body. He didn't say he fucked the body. He just like he took her dead body and tried to like, you know, have it for himself. I don't know what was gonna do with the body though. I think it was a story and I just look at it or some shit, like a freaking painting or some shit. I don't know what the hell. But then freaking Snow White comes alive anyway, somehow. And then they get married. But the real thing is, like, Snow White doesn't know that this guy, this prince, took her from the dwarfs while she was dead. And this prince was about to have her like as like an exhibition. Bro, I'm so done, bro. These cartoons are so... Oh, no.
Cinderella is remembered
Cinderella,
as
no!
Angry. In Disney's version, she
Cinderella,
lives with
no,
wicked
Cinderella.
stepmother and stepsisters. They force her to scrub floors and do endless chores.
But I just finished.
Do them again. And don't forget the garden. Then scrub the terrace, sweep the halls and the stairs.
But Cinderella never complains. She's an angel. Then a fairy godmother appears. Cinderella meets a prince, falls in love, and escapes her wicked stepmother. The original Cinderella was nothing like that. She wasn't a patient victim waiting for rescue. She took matters into her own hands. And her first victim was her stepmother. The Cinderella story told in 1634 was very different. And in that version, her name wasn't Cinderella. It was actually...
Did Cinderella... Oh my days. Did Cinderella kill her stepmother? Cinderella might be a menace back in the days, bro. I got a feeling Cinderella was a menace, chat.
Zazola.
She was definitely a menace.
Her father and stepmother who treated her like dirt, and she burned with anger. But no fairy godmother appeared. Instead, a woman named Carmesina poisoned Zazola's mind. Carmesina told her she could escape her misery by ending her stepmother. Once the woman was gone, Carmesina promised to marry Zazola's father. That would make her the new stepmom. Then they could be a happy family. Zazola agreed. She was still a child, but she was willing to take a life. She asked her stepmother to help her find a dress in
now
a
you
heavy
smell good after
wooden
that,
chest.
Ruzi. Shut your your
When her
ass out, boy.
stepmother bent inside, Zizola slammed the lid on her. It looked like an accident. Zizola's father never suspected her. After the funeral, she moved to the next step of the plan. Zizola pushed her father to marry Carmesina. He agreed. For a brief moment, Zizola believed her life would be beautiful. Instead, it got worse. At first, Carmesina kept her promise. She was kind to Zizola, but once she was secure in her new marriage, she revealed her true nature. She was meaner than the first stepmother. Carmesina moved 6 daughters of her own into the house. Suddenly, Zizola, or Cinderella, had 6 new stepsisters tormenting her daily. Zizola worked like a servant from sunrise to sunset. She unfortunately ended her stepmother hoping for a better life, but it was all for nothing. The story continued. There were supernatural events and all sort of weird situations, but the main parts were still there. Zizola attended a royal banquet. She left behind her glass slipper. The prince searched the kingdom for the girl whose foot fit the shoe. In the end, he found Zizola. It was a happy ending, but the road to it was paved with misery. One thing is certain, the real Cinderella is not a story of patience and kindness. It's about anger, revenge, and betrayal. 300 years later, Disney erased the disturbing parts. Zizola became Cinderella. Instead of a girl who ended her stepmother, she became the girl who never fought back. Today, almost no one remembers Zizola, the dangerous Cinderella. These characters looked like heroes on screen, but behind them were stories of pain and suffering.
Damn!
People every day are no different. They all have a past, a story. Bro. So my friends, be kind to the people around you because you never know what backstory they're carrying. Visual Venture.
Oh, hell no, chat. Oh, hell no, chat. Now you guys are looking at these cartoons differently, bro. All of these cartoons come from scary real-life stories, bro. And they're just bent to seem like they're all happy and sappy and good when they're actually bad. Thank you guys for watching the YouTube video. I love y'all boys and girls to bits, and I'll see you guys in the next reaction video in a bizzle.